So this game, the next game I'm gonna talk about is a pretty big one. It's not the game that's Source thinking.
As soon as you said big game, oh, is it? Is it?
I played through Baldur's Gate 3 this year.
Oh damn! I've tried to play it, but that D&D style is just not my cup of tea. That gameplay is just not for me.
Yeah, I can see why.
I mean, I've heard nothing but great things. Like I really want to go around to playing it. Like it's because like literally everyone has showered it with praise. I understand what you mean about not being a fan of the gameplay, but like I don't know, this might be one of those situations where maybe you gotta like muscle through it and just like brute force it anyways, and like maybe turn down the difficulty so you can enjoy the writing, because like it's like everyone that I know and respect is like, yeah, no, this is a banger.
Like this is like I've genuinely seen more people than I can count say it's like the greatest game they've ever played, and I have like,
or at least
yeah, it's close to. Yeah. Like I don't plan on like dropping it permanently. It's just like I've tried it a couple times and I fall off, and then I'll get like some kind of resurgence to go back to it. And I do enjoy the writing. I actually really enjoy the writing and the characters. It's very Dragon Age Origins to me. I kind of like, outside of the combat, I feels like very Dragon Age in a good way, because I love Dragon Age Origins. So it's definitely something I plan to go back to. But anyway, go ahead, Peter.
Like, I think the characters are really a highlight. Well, at its best, I do think it contends with the best of Dragon Age Origin characters, like Morgan, Alistair, and the likes. At its worst, like, let's see, I think the characters you get in Act 1 are really great. They're developed really well. They have really interesting stories. Well, maybe except Will. Maybe except Will.
yeah, he's not great.
Like Astarion, Lae'zel, Gale, Shadowheart, Karlach. I think they're really great. They have really interesting stories that develop throughout the games, throughout the Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. It's mostly the other characters where I think doesn't really get their time to shine. Like Haslin. How far do you got in Baldur's Gate 3?
A pretty good chunk into Act 1, but that's...
You know how you're supposed to get...
I probably played probably like 15 hours.
You know you're supposed to get the Druid Haslin, right? From the Goblin Camp? Mm-hmm. When you get him, he doesn't do anything for Act 2 until near the end. And then, like... And his story basically just revolves around freeing this, like, embodiment of, how to say it? It's like spirit, sort of. But, like, he doesn't really have that many moments to shine, I think. I think that way, like, not many of your party members that join after Act 1 has that moment to shine. I think part of it is, like, some of the characters you join are Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 characters. So they're mostly there for, like, cameo purposes, you know?
Okay.
Like, Mince and Jihara. They're Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 characters, I think. And they're mostly there just to be there, I feel. And Minthara, I didn't thought she was that interesting. But in regards to the characters, I think the highlights really is the main party members you get in Act 1. And they do have really cool stories. Like with Gale, his entire shtick is that he was a mortal who basically got into a romantic relationship with the goddess of magic. Like, that's really interesting. And you see how in his attempts to try to impress her and be used to her, he got it over his head and released something that he shouldn't have, which is why he's in the state he is in now. And with Lae'zel, with her having to deal with the indoctrination of her race, with the figurehead being basically a false figurehead, and then her having to come to terms with it. And Shadowheart as well, with her having to come to terms, like discovering the truth behind her origin, since her memory was literally hidden from her by her goddess. And like they all have really interesting and developed backstories as well as character stories, which I think
really funny thing real quick with Shadowheart. I remember YouTuber Super Eye Patch Wolf at first was romancing her until her hair changes for whatever reason it is.
Oh yeah,
story.
yeah.
And then he fucking dumped her.
Bruh. With she,
just because of her hair change.
Yeah, she she can either become like more aligned with Char or more aligned with Selune, and if she becomes more aligned with Selune, her hair changes to reflect that, since she was like a Char follower beforehand. Gameplay wise, I think the most interesting thing is the interactivity you have within the game's story and quest. Like there's a lot of things that you can like make a quest go that can make them interesting. You said you weren't a fan of the combat, right?
Yeah, see, like the thing is, like the D&D gameplay, it's like not at all what I know in an RPG. It almost feels like a completely different genre altogether. Like I felt like I was like just like lost in the mechanics, and it's just I'm using like my JRPG knowledge and applying it to that game, and that's not at all what it is. So I actually found a video not that long ago that kind of like walk through the basics of how like that gameplay works, because it is not at all what I am familiar with.
Okay, so let's see. I played this game 2 times at least, I think. I played it through its hard mode, and then I played it again on honor mode to get the gold dice. You have any idea what honor mode is?
No, I don't think so.
It's hardcore mode, where you can't reload a save to save yourself. You basically and then every boss have like their super like have a exclusive abilities to them. Oh, what are you gonna say?
No, I was just like repeating myself. I'm like, fuck that.
Like, I have to do my auto mode run 2 or 3 times beforehand. Because the first time I failed, or no, I think only twice. The first time I failed is because I accidentally provoked the entire druid village, and then which ended in death, which had like got me to repeat like the first 3-4 hours again. Well, like,
fucking hell, dude.
Yeah.
You know what you should play? You should play Fear and Hunger. That's perfect for you.
I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 is a game where getting knowledge of fights really does help you make the game relatively easier. Knowing what's going to happen beforehand makes the very spicy battles a lot more bearable. Because like, I think there's this battle in Act 2 where you basically have to play escort mission and protect this particular character in the last Light Inn. If you don't, the story will continue, but like your main base at the in Shadowlands is basically gone, and a lot of the NPCs that you might have saved in Act 1 will basically be dead, and all the quest line will be cut short. And so like if understanding what type of threats is coming at you and preparing beforehand makes that fight so much easier, to the point where it's barely a bother if you know what you're doing. And I feel like having a knowledge beforehand in Baldur's Gate 3 does help a lot in making the game a lot more easier to contend with.
Yeah, I honestly think that was the barrier for me, was just not being familiar with how that genre works.
Yeah, but I think Baldur's Gate really excels in how interactive it is. Like, there's so many systems and mechanics interacting with each other that does really make it a very unique experience. Even options that you don't think is really that useful is useful. Like, I'm sure you saw a lot of videos displaying Baldur's Gate 3 shove mechanic, and how you can do a lot of the fights with the shove ability.
I've seen some videos of it.
Or throwing people.
Kind of like Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem didn't really have a shove mechanic overall. Only Path of Radiance did.
I'm only Path of Radiance. Okay.
Yeah, like, or at least in terms like pushing somebody, you could rescue somebody, but then that basically just get them to carry them and then ferry them off somewhere.
I think it was also in Three Houses.
Maybe.
Or at least, like, I feel like certain characters could do it, or like certain classes.
Yeah, maybe. I only played for Three Houses once, and it was quite a bit of time ago. I just think generally, shove isn't really a thing for like most of the series.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of interactivity that can make things go as well as it can, or go sideways, which does make the game interesting to play through, both in combat and outside of combat too. Certain quests can go in a different direction than you expect. Each battle can go very different than you expect. Some combinations can work surprisingly well. You know what's the funny thing? When you go to the harder difficulty, you know what's the one thing they changed?
What?
You can't kill bosses by shoving them into an abyss anymore. At least not the spider boss.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. And like overall, like I do think Baldur's Gate 3 is a really good game. It's a pretty interesting game. At its peak, I liked it as much as Dragon Age Origins. But there are some, like, I do think like the main plot overall, if you trying to figure out of how to get like, you're basically, for most of the story, like, you're infected with these parasites, mind flayer parasites, and you're trying to find a way to basically get rid of them so you don't turn into a mind flayer. And I feel like most of the story is just you going around figuring out how to get rid of them and going from one MacGuffin to the next, and then you discovering all the different type of parties that is involved. But it does really do feel like you're chasing the MacGuffin sometimes, which can feel a bit for me. But I do I do think the highlight of the story is the character still.
Yeah, from the Act 1 characters that I played, I especially really like Shadowheart. I loved her personality, and her story was really interesting. So, but yeah, like, the character writing is, from what I played, is really, really great.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do like the gameplay. At least I played it again on auto mode, at least, and beat it. And the game can, but once you understand how the game plays, it's not too hard. Especially when you get really interesting ability combination. And I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 is a game where itemization is incredibly strong in the game. Like entire builds can just be based on this one ring or a gauntlet you found in some random place. Like, there's this glove you can get from one of your mages where it will give them arcane synergy for every fire attack that hits. So if you just hit somebody with fire ray 4 or 5 times, you get 5 or 6 stacks of synergy, and synergy allows your spells to hit more easily. So if you use a very powerful spell it's a spell that cages a character, either a human or a monster, And if you cage them like that, they can't move. And any attack that you do to them, if you're near, will crit them. So like having a mage that can build up arcane synergy as well as cast a cage spell like that does make the game much more bearable and easier than you expect. And overall, like Baldur's Gate 3 is a game where knowing how each encounter works does make it easier to contend with, which can make it a bit trial and error sometimes, but I do think it is fun still.
Cool. I just need to get around to it. It's just such a big game.
Yeah,
it feels kind of
that's honestly like that the gameplay barrier and also like the fact that it's like a behemoth of a game is definitely a little off-putting. But I think one of these days I'll have to set some time aside and just like really dive into it.